Hi, Tibbles. Shabbat Shalom. You nervous there? You are? Hi. Hi, Shabbat Shalom. It's great to see you. Welcome. Colin, you're going to be great. I have your back. Colin, I want you to know that I think your pants are really nice. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Hey, is it good? Shabbat Shalom. Good. It's not buzzing. My other mic pack was making a buzz. You guys were so quick to get right in. To start singing a little bit. I'm gonna start singing, yeah. Yai dai dai dai, ya dai dai, ya dai dai, ai dai dai, ya dai yai dai, yai dai dai, ya dai yai dai, yai dai, ya dai dai. I let's continue. Hinei ma tovu manayim. I think the words are on page like 10. Try it. See if it's there. See if it's there. Hinei ma tovu manayim. Shevet achim gam yachad. Hinei ma tovu manayim. Shevet achim gam yachad.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It's good to be together. I want to invite you to welcome each other and say hello to someone, maybe someone you don't know. You can introduce yourselves. Share something good about your week if you like. You can chat more after the service. I also want to point out for our younger members of the congregation, we do have some Shabbat bags in the back. They have some quiet activities for anyone who would like something to do with their hands at any point. We just invite you to return them when you're done, please. And it is my honor to welcome our Bar Mitzvah family for the honor of lighting the Shabbat candles. So we'd like to invite up Matt, Zoe, Melissa, and John Zrodowski, and Helene and Michael Friedman to come light these candles. The blessing is on page 2 or 120. Wait, just 1 minute.
We're gonna light first.
Lit.
We'll all sing together in a minute.
Yeah, I know they're a little tricky. Just 1 sec. Try again.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat.
We'll ask Matt to lift up the cup of joy and lead us in Kiddush on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu Veshabbat kodsho be'al ratzon in hilanu zikaron lemase bereshit ki hu yom tehillah lemikra et kodesh zecher letziat mitzrayim Ivanu v'charta ve'otanu kidashta mikol hamim v'shabbat kodshecha be'al ratzon inchaltanu Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Chaim. Take a sip. Mazel tov to you all.
Very nice. Shabbat shalom.
Done. Shabbat
Mazel
shalom.
tov.
Mazel tov. You can relax now. We welcome in the Sabbath bride with the words of Lechado D on page 20 or 138. And we'll sing the first, second, fifth, and ninth verses. When we get to that last verse, we will rise and turn towards the doorway to welcome in the Sabbath bride. Page 20.
Ya la 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 Lechado Di. Ya la 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 Likrat Kalam. Ya la 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 Pnei Shabbat. Pnei Shabbat Mekavel. Ya la 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 Lechado Di. Ya la 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 Likrat Kalam. Ya la la Pnei Shabbat. Pnei Shabbat Mekavel. Shamor v'zachor b'divorecha ishmi'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'shem latiferet v'litchila ya ilai ilai ya la 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 l'chado di ya la 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 likrat kalam la ilaha pnei Shabbat pnei Shabbat Shir Daveri Kevod Adonai Alayich Nigla Yai Lai Lai Ya La 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 V'chododi Yai Lai Lai Ya La Likrat Kolo Pnei Shabbat Nikavela Believe in Shalom Ateret Bala Gam Besimcha U'mitzola U'toch Emunei Am Segula Bo'ichala Bo'ichala Yai Lai Lai Ya La 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 L'chododi Ya La 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 Likrat Kala Ya La 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 Pnei Shabbat Tikavela Ya La 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 L'chododi Yai Lai Lai Likrat Kala Yai Lai Lai Pnei Shabbat Pnei Shabbat
We turn now to words of Chatzi Kaddish on page 26 or 144.
Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shmei Rabba Amen Ve'alma divrach hirutei v'yamlich malechutei B'chayechon v'yomechon Uv'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael Va'agala uv'izman karif V'imeru 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 Amen Yehi Shmei Rabba Mivarach Ve'alam u'le'olmei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitrumam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal Shmei 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 Tekudisha Tekudisha Berichu Leila Minko Birchata Birchata V'shirata Tushbechata V'nechemata Da'amiran Be'alma Ve'imeru Amen Amen
Now that we are sufficiently warmed up, we are ready for the call to prayer, the words of the Baruch Hu. And we'd like to invite up our third graders now to lead us in the words of Baruch Hu. Come on up. We'll turn to page 28 or 146.
Come stand right in the middle,
All
right here.
Stand right over here with the mic. We want to be able to hear you.
Come on, you guys are tall enough. You're going to
If you're
stand right
a really
behind
good
the
singer,
table.
you can be right here.
Hi, Simone.
That's all of you. Come on over.
All right, here we
Page
go.
28 or 146.
Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. Yai la lai 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 lai. Yai lai 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 lai. the bell. Here we go. Baruch hu et Adonai HaMevorach. Bow again. Baruch
continue with our Ma'ariv Aravim, our twilight prayer, roll into dark. It's on your song sheets. If you have the laminated song sheet in the pew, it's number 2 or 3 or 8, something. It's the one called Roll into Dark. You guys ready? Yeah, if you do the hand motions.
Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Boreyam v'alayla, golel or mipnei choshech, golel or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light, night becomes day, day turns to night.
Beautifully done.
Thank you very
guys can
much.
help you go back to your seats, okay? Nicely done.
Great job.
Nicely done. We'll turn now to the words of the Shema on page 34 or 152.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed.
You can be seated. I'd like to invite up Colin Tivell, next week's bar mitzvah, to lead us in the words of V'ahavta, page 36 or 154. Yep, come on up. That's you. 36. Right here.
Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha be'kol levavcha uve'kol nafshecha uve'chol me'odecha ve'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi nitzavecha hayom al levavecha Vishinantam levanecha, v'dibarta bam, v'shivteha v'teha, uvlekteha v'derek, uvshokbeha uvkumecha, uvshartam leot al yadeha, v'hayu totafot b'neinecha, uvtaftam Hamezuzot beitecha uvisharecha leman tiskeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'hitem kedoshim le'elohechem Ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem Me'eretz Mitzrayim, V'yot lachem Elohim, Ani Adonai Elohechem, Adonai Elohechem, Amen.
That was great. Good job.
Sing the words of Micha Mocha, our song of freedom, together on page 40 or 158.
כי פדה אדוני את יעקב, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני,
Baruch Shemo.
גאל ישראל.
The prayer of the chief rabbi of Turkey, Rabbi Itzhak Haleva. Grant patience, fortitude, and courage to our brothers and sisters who are currently waiting to be rescued under the rubble, and bestow strength and success to the officials who sacrifice to bring them back to their families and societies as soon as possible. Make those who are homeless and shelterless in this winter cold innocent of all kinds of diseases and harm. Make the place of our brothers and sisters who lost their lives a paradise, and grant immediate healing to our wounded. My God, who will keep us, our nation, our country, and all humanity free from such disasters. We sing the words of Hashkivenu, page 42 or 160, our prayer for shelter and our hope for peace.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leshalom, v'hamidenu shomreinu lechaim. Ushmor Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu leShalom, Behamidenu Shomreinu lechaim. Hashkivenu Adonai,
Behamidenu
Shalom, Nule Shalom.
If you're able, I invite you to rise for our standing prayer, the words of the Amidah, beginning with the opening meditation on page 46 or 164. If you're streaming at home, I invite you to rise as well. Maybe take a deep breath and let this tefillah, this centering prayer, fall over you wherever you are.
That my mouth may declare your praise. Ya la 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 la, 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 ya la la. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor, Hanura, El Elyon, Gomel Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei Bneihem, Leman Shemo Be'ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Bezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai, Mechayei HaKol atah, Rav leHoshia, Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem, Mechalkel Chaim Bechesed, Mechayei HaKol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim berofei cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha bal gevurot, Melech meimit u'mechayeh u'matzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atah l'chayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechayeh hakol אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש,
וקדושים
בכל יום יהללוך סלה. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
Sit here. Sit here.
The entire world is but a narrow bridge. The most important thing is not to be afraid. The words to Kol Ha'olam Kulo Gesher Tsar Me'od, page 339, or 643. Good. Kol Ha'olam Kulo Gesher Tsar Me'od, Kol Ha'olam Gesher Tsar, Kol Ha'olam Kulo Gesher Tsar Me'od, Kol Ha'olam Gesher As I walk along this very narrow bridge, I will not be afraid, knowing you are with me. As I walk along this very narrow bridge, I will not be afraid, knowing you are near. העולם הוא גשר צר מאוד.
On page 253, our thoughts turn to those who are right in the middle of that very narrow bridge, those in our community in need of healing, in need of strength and courage. We offer them this prayer at this time. Community is offering prayers of healing this Shabbat to Jerry Behar, Miles Bennett, Susan Carlson, Rudy Andrizi, Gary Gershwin, Marty Gelman, Selena Glader, Benedict Gross, Diana Guthoner, Moritz Huppert, Donald Korn, Linda Kramer, Bernie Marcus, Sophia Palisbam, Rabbi Lori Phillips, Harriet Shane, Stephen Avraham Simon, David Baruch Ben Simona, Len Williams, and Katie Wilson. If you're thinking of somebody else in need of healing, I invite you to speak their names out loud so we can add them to our prayer. At this time, if you are one of our third graders or a sibling of one of our third graders, I invite you to follow our amazing Beth Am teacher, third grade teacher Steve, and our amazing high school Madrik Jacob out. Rabbi Sarah is going to give quite a stirring sermon, no doubt, but you can take this time for a little bit of storytelling and fun with Steve and Jacob.
At our staff meeting this week, we were confronted with an important religious and philosophical question. As you may know, every month we choose a charitable organization to support. This month we are collecting donations for Coastside Hope's Farm Workers Fund and Puente de la Costa Sur, which support the communities on the San Mateo coast that have been affected by both the heavy storms and the horrific shooting last month. But in light of the devastating earthquake in Turkey and Syria this week, we wondered whether we should instead collect for earthquake relief. Which cause should take precedence? And how do we decide? You will not be shocked to hear that Jewish tradition had some guidance for us. We all know that tzedakah is a fundamental Jewish value coming from the root tzedek, which means justice or righteousness. Tzedakah is an obligation, not an option for Jews. The Torah warns us against hardening our hearts and turning our eyes away from the needy, and commands us to leave the corners of our fields for the poor. The Talmud calls for essential communal institutions like the Kupah, the Tzedakah Fund, and the Tamchui, the soup kitchen. Maimonides, the great 12th century scholar, says that we are supposed to be more scrupulous in fulfilling the commandment of tzedakah than any other commandment, because tzedakah is the sign of the righteous. And everyone, even the one who receives tzedakah, is required to give it. The halakha, Jewish law, outlines the details of the mitzvah of tzedakah. We are told how much to give. No more than 1/5 of our income, no less than 1/10, and how we should give, ideally anonymously, or through a loan or investment that preserves the recipient's dignity. And as for the answer to our staff's question, when it comes to who should receive our tzedakah, the Talmud teaches that those who are closest to us should be given precedence. We give first to our own family members, then to the residents of our city, and then to residents of other cities. It makes a sort of intuitive sense that we have a greater obligation to those who are closest to us. The more intimate the relationship, the more invested we are in each other's well-being. The 20th century philosopher Emmanuel Levinas teaches that it is when we come face to face with the other that we become responsible to them. And Brian Stevenson, founder of the Equal Justice Initiative, says we cannot create justice without getting close to places where injustices prevail. We have to get proximate. Proximity is one of the guiding principles in classical and modern Jewish texts, as well as in our own lived experience, for how we should give tzedakah. The other guiding principle for how to distribute tzedakah, based on both Jewish sources and on common sense, is need. One 19th century rabbi, the Khatam Sofer, explains, "The poor of your city takes precedence over the poor of another city. That is to say, this applies if both poor people need food or clothing. However, if the poor of your city have what they need to live, but just don't have any extra money, and the poor of the other city don't have food or clothing, then the poor of the other city take precedence. The neediest takes precedence." The halakha is unequivocal about providing for someone's immediate needs. If a person tells you they are hungry, you feed them at once, without question or judgment. Even if you suspect they might be lying to you, you feed them. To do otherwise would risk endangering their life or health. However, Jewish tradition also advises that we should give tzedakah wisely. If an unfamiliar person asks for money or for clothing rather than food, for instance, we're supposed to investigate to be sure the person is truly in need before we give. Unless they're completely naked, then you give right away. And as a midrash on Psalm 41 says, it is not written, "Happy is the one who gives to the needy," but happy is the one who considers the needy. This refers to the one who fulfills this commandment intelligently. In other words, we ought to give tzedakah in the most effective and beneficial way that we can. And one final consideration in deciding where our tzedakah should go is the question of whether helping other Jews should take precedence over helping non-Jews. Jewish tradition says that we should support Jews first, but also that we ought to provide help to anyone who needs it, whether Jewish or not. We have to balance our particular responsibilities as Jews with our universal responsibilities as human beings. So which cause should take precedence this month? Our neighbors in Half Moon Bay have suffered in numerous ways and are in need of support for lost wages, damage to their homes, funeral expenses, and mental health support. Many of these are urgent needs. The earthquake in Turkey and Syria has caused unimaginable devastation, with over 23,000 lives lost and whole cities destroyed. Thousands of Turkish and Syrian people are in dire need of food, shelter, and medical care. These too are urgent needs. We might say that the need is greater in Syria and Turkey because the scale of the disaster is so huge. Or we might say that supporting the Half Moon Bay community is more effective because there are fewer barriers to getting aid to them than there are to getting aid to Syria and Turkey. We might also say that the whole world is focused on earthquake relief right now, but not on our neighbors on the coast. So it is perhaps more important for our community in particular to give there. So if I were to give a rabbinic ruling here, I would say, give to both. How's that for a rabbinic ruling? And give as much as you can. And while I'm giving advice, I'd say give through Beth Am's Tzedakah Fund and through the Jewish aid organizations, Israel Aid and the JDC. By donating tzedakah to specifically Jewish organizations, we make our giving an explicitly Jewish act. We remind ourselves that our charitable giving is not just a good deed, but a mitzvah, our sacred Jewish obligation. Gedolah tzedakah shemekarevet et hageulah. Great is tzedakah, in that it brings redemption near. May our acts of tzedakah bring healing, justice, and redemption to the world. Shabbat Shalom.
Thank you, Rabbi Weissman. I'll put in the final plug. The best way to give tzedakah through Beth Am is if you're here in person, there's a tzedakah box as you walk out for checks or cash. If you are streaming or you don't carry money on Shabbat, you can go to the Beth Am webpage, betham.org, and find the tzedakah box. You can Venmo Beth-Am, and all the information to both how are we supporting the organizations on the coast side, as well as the organizations that Rabbi Weissman mentioned that are working on the ground in Syria and Turkey, are on the Beth Am Facebook page and the Beth Am webpage. If you're able, I invite you to rise. The words of Aleinu are on 282 and 586, or 586.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי ארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגור עלינו ככל המונם, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
Be seated. On page 294 are the words of the mourner's Kaddish, Kaddish Yatom. If I read the name of your loved one, I invite you to rise in his or her memory, and we'll rise as one community to say words of Kaddish together. In this period of Shiva, 7 days since passing, the Beth Am community remembers Martin Sobel, the brother of Art, the brother-in-law of Joanne Sobel, and Stella Wilner, the mother of Jane, and the mother-in-law of Harold. In this period of Shloshim, remember with love Racheli Morad, Michael Zeidenberg, Max Maltzman, Eleanor Kaplan, Michael Shapiro, Harold Muckamal, and Adrian Lee Brookstone. And on this period of Yartzeit, the anniversary since passing. We remember Sarah Pinchas Argunova, Nahum Aviram, Michael Avrutin, Eleanor Azevedo, Shelem Bardstein, Catherine Bauer, Brianna Lydia Becker, Arkady Berenberg, Joan Marilyn Burkett, Sylvia Chesim, Randy Cohen, Laura Cohn, Leonard Daly, Bernard DeHovitz, Shirley Lieb Delheim, Carol Elias, Donald Feinstein, Jules Frankel, Bert Gelfand, Marietta Giannetti, Doris Grossberg, Oscar Jack Grossman, Florence Herbach, Harold Hoppy, Bruce Irvine, Nathan Janklow, Elliot Josephson, Ruvim Kahanovitz, Marcia Kalmim, Roberta Kamim, Jeanette Cameron, Benedict Katz, Richard Kaufman, Vera Keller, Howard Edward Crone, Alma Lasher, Daniel Levinson, Morris Levinson, Mary Levy, Anna Liebhaber, Betty Light, Isidore Lachspim, Jackie Mann, Cy Marks, Marion Marks, Dorothy Norma Middleman, Benjamin Milo, Hilda Moskowitz, Elizabeth Namis, Sally Nissim, Jim Oshry, Henrietta Person, Benjamin Person, Esther Pianin, Adolf Rauschberger, Nathan Raymer, Lillian Kramer Robinson, Joseph Rosenfeld, David Sack, Doris Schatz, Sveta Siegel, Seymour Sidesher, Ruth Seiler, Alan Spall, Helen Snyder Simmons, Pearl Sinclair, Pearl Spector, Harry Springer, Barry Stock, Clemens Stein, Rose Strauss, Sam Strober, Albert Tabin, Robert Unterman, Joseph Weisblatt, Michael Weber, Alice Weitzner, Sarah Westerman, Jerry White, Per Wolfs, Shoshana Dessa Wolk-Levine, Ruth Zeligs, David Zlotnick, and Jules Zulman. If you're thinking of someone whose name I did not read, I invite you to rise at this time. Words of Kaddish are on page 294. We all rise. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah. Be'amah devaraku te bi'amlich malchute. B'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chaye dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'gala uv'izman karib b'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ulmei almaya. Yiparach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh. V'yit hadar, v'yit haleh, v'yit halal, shemei d'kusha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata b'shirata. Tush pechata b'nechemata. Da'amiram bi'ama b'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya. B'chaim aleinu bi'al kol Yisrael b'imru amen. Osei shalom b'mromav. Hu yaseh shalom aleinu bi'al kol Yisrael b'imru. Amen.
Adonai oz le'amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo. Adonai oz le'amo yitein Adonai yivarech et amo.
It's so wonderful to have so many people here this Friday night, whether you're here in person or you're streaming. I do want to make sure that everyone knows that next Friday night is the Shabbat each year where we honor Rabbi Sidney Axelrod and the extended Axelrod family. I know so many people here knew Rabbi Axelrod well and the entire family. So we hope you can join us either in person or streaming next Friday night for the Axelrod family lecture. Cantor and I were going over this with Matt, whose bar mitzvah is tomorrow morning, and we're so excited. We were reading Exodus 18, and there's a section in Yitro which talks about how Jethro is supposed to assign chiefs to everybody. And then the next section of the Torah, it talks about how the people are to be delivered on wings of eagles.
Oh, you didn't.
And I was so stuck about what we are to do. We have chiefs in chapter 18 and eagles in chapter 19. Chapter 20 talks all about will to take the points or not. And I don't know, Matt. I know your family's visiting from Philadelphia, so I know where they think. So we sing our song of peace and our hope for eternal happiness and peace. Page 353, the words of Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu ve'al kulam.
How about our third graders come up here? Shalom Aleinu.
Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Winnie, come on up. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam. Salam Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Shalom. Salam Aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam Shalom. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Od Yavo Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kulam.
Hold the plate for me.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Shabbat
Shalom.
Rip off a piece.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody.
La 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 la
La, 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 la.
You want a piece of
la
challah?
la 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 la.
That's right.
La 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 la.
Matt, share this with your family, okay?
Oseh Shalom Bimromam.
Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al Kol Yisrael. Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel. Be'imru. Just pass it out. Amen. Nice sermon.
What?
Give to everything. knew that was a good answer. Just give.
Shabbat Shalom.
was a never. People didn't know. Yeah.
Wow.
So he was, that sort of a person. And so his funeral, the number of people that came, with my kids and everything too. It was packed, and every single event was